Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me today for our little experts panel. At Nala head office, we receive a lot of industry questions all the time. As you know, we always reach out to our board for these answers, so thank you for coming today. We have a lot of interesting questions, and Rain is going to throw those out to us, and we'll hopefully be able to answer everything for everybody. Rain, what's our first question of the day?
Are there ways to get around lashing clients with allergies?
No. Okay, but really, why not? Why are we not? Does anybody want to start with this? Why are we not doing lashes?
I mean, first of all, we can't really diagnose an allergy. So if your client is having any sort of reaction to anything, the first step is to send them to the doctor. So if your client came and they're like, hey, I'm having an allergy, can you do something for me? The answer is no, you can't really do anything for them until they get properly diagnosed.
Yeah, so I know that there's, some people are coming up with different ways where they can get around like the side effects of allergies and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for our stance at Nala, the reason we don't want people doing that is it's irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't understand why we're so comfortable putting our clients at risk. I mean, at the end of the day, if their body's having a negative reaction, then we shouldn't be persisting on doing something that hurts a client. I think it's...
I really have to say that I would recommend really telling them that they really need to see a doctor. And also too, you know, it's our business and our insurance that needs to cover us as well.
Yeah. And request like a doctor's note.
Well, I think the big thing is we want to make our clients happy. So like, it's not like anyone's doing it on purpose, like, haha, you're having an allergy, I'm gonna like provoke it more. We just want to be able to provide that happiness to our client, and that's why we're like, let's find a way around it, but it's just legally and liability wise, it's not the best idea.
Yeah, I think it comes with a big liability, and I understand it's unfortunate. I mean, I love lash extensions. I'd be devastated if I became allergic to those. Like, touch wood, hopefully that never happens.
Yeah.
But also, like, my health is so much more important, and I would completely respect, because Amanda does my lashes.
I do.
I would respect if she, like, said to me, it's like, Levi, I care about you. I care about your health. You know, they're just, like, let's find another treatment we could do to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Or, like, we always recommend in Nala also, is to have them go have an actual allergy test.
Yes.
Because maybe there's something in the treatment that can be removed without affecting the integrity of the lash extensions.
Yeah, because I've heard of someone having a reaction, but it was really, it ended up being the under eye gel pads.
Right.
But they thought it was the lashes.
Yeah.
So it is very important to go get an allergy test.
Yeah, there's sometimes ways to discover if you can remove the allergen culprit from the treatment, but I think we all agree that if someone's allergic, we just shouldn't be applying lash extensions.
And I have to add, it's hard too, because I myself, as a lash artist, also had to break that news to my client. And so I feel the same where we have it, but the best thing was for them to really see the doctor and come up with alternatives. So my other client was so allergic that I had to teach them how to use strip lashes and guide them through it, and they now work on strip lashes for themselves.
Yeah, there are some tips floating around the internet about like, tell your client to take an antihistamine or something like that. And I just wanted to add that we aren't doctors. And even if it's over-the-counter medicine, if we are recommending it, you're putting yourself at risk for being sued if something happens. We don't know their medical history. So the best thing to always do is to send them to the doctor, because it covers your butt.
Yeah, and your insurance would be avoided as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to avoid insurance. We don't want to make anybody sick. Yeah, and again, like we say, not only is it not okay for you to say take a Benadryl to, because I did hear that that's part of the recommendation. It's just have them take a Benadryl. You can do a topical antihistamine. So you're now diagnosing, prescribing, and administering medication, and that's a huge liability for your clients and for your business.
Yeah.
We never want to do something that puts our business at risk. You've worked so hard to build what you've created. You could lose it all over one client because you didn't want to say, no, I'm not comfortable doing this. So in my personal opinion, that's never worth it.
Yeah.
We say don't even recommend a cold compress.
And we heard that from a lawyer.
Yeah, a lawyer told us that.
You can't even recommend, like, put a cold compress on it if you're swelling, because that is still medical advice.
Yeah, it's a really big deal.
Hey Rain, what's our next question?
Can classic trained artists use pre-made fans?
Nala thinks it's recommendable to first take a course of volume before do extension with pre-made fans.
Yeah, and I think that's important because classic trained artists haven't learned about wrapping and the different weights and things like that. So when you take a volume course, there's more than just showing how to make a fan. So
Yeah.
pre-mades help skip that step. You were saying this morning how it actually was.
I actually found it really difficult to use pre-made fans, and I've been doing volume lashes for 8 years now. And I tried it out after our little meeting that we had yesterday just so I could get more familiar with it. And I actually found it very difficult.
Like more difficult than doing volume lashes?
Yeah, I just found like pre-made fans are a little stiffer than what a handmade fan would be. So it was a little harder to apply and make sure that it was fitting in there properly.
And what about wrapping? Did you feel like?
Oh, there's definitely not a lot of wrapping.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel like if you were only classic trained, it would be easy or hard to use pre-made fans?
I think it would be hard. Yeah, I had to like spread the lashes out even further, and hold it for longer. Let's cut that part out.
No, we keep it in.
Well, I want to add in, as you were talking about, a lot of times people always say, we don't approve of pre-made fans. We do approve it, but it's just that it's probably of how to learn to properly place it, because it's also at the end of the day, the health of the lashes.
Yeah.
that
And
we're
the
here
correct
for.
weight and the correct long.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, understanding it's not the same as classic.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, we don't have a problem with pre-made fans.
No,
But the lash artist needs to be trained in volume to understand how and when to use
Yes.
pre-made fans.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is like when you have a pre-made fan, you think if you know how to do classic, if you can attach one to one, you can attach several to one, but there's so much more that you need to know, like the balance and symmetry and proper lengths and weights, and there's like so much that you learn in a volume course that you don't necessarily learn in a classic.
Yeah, and like you said too, like even understanding the wrapping, which is I think why you're saying that the
Yeah,
pre-mades
it
were
was-
harder, because
yeah.
they're not wrapping around the natural lash.
Right, and you have to kind of, like I was putting it through the natural lash, so half of the fan was on one side, half of the fan was on the other, and you just have to like hold it there for even longer than you
Otherwise
would.
they'll, like,
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
like teeter-totter kind of on the lash.
Yeah, and then weren't you also saying they're more expensive,
yeah, it's more expensive. Yeah.
the pre-made?
And I think with classic you can do, you can put everywhere, but in pre-fans only up, on down, only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the pre-made.
And it's complicated for a beginning to do the
Side.
side down, no?
Yeah.
I mean, and also when you learn a classic course, like when you learn lashes, I think we can all agree there's so much you need to learn. Just in the classic course, like why add another level of like difficulty to something you're already trying to master?
Yeah.
Like master all the isolation and adhesive control and direction, master that first.
Yeah.
And as you talk about the classic to the fan has to be uttered in the volume sector, is because again, we talked about how many in this fan. They start as little as 3 and they have them go up to 10. So then as you were talking about the weight of it, the length of it, again, it's all that falls into the same play.
I agree, because when you go shopping for the pre-made fans, you see this chart of comparatives, but if you haven't been volume trained, you can't make a quality decision, because there's more to it than just, 3 of these equals 1 of those. Yeah, just, you really need to be volume trained. So I think our answer is
I
that
think it's important
classic trained-
to tell people who is beginning that there are exists, no? But it's with control, with measure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like and they're great. Like they have a place in the market. They're
for
they're
sure.
great to use in certain circumstances, but just don't think that you don't need a volume course to use
Yeah,
them.
I think pre-mades are awesome
Yeah.
for volume
But
trained
careful.
lash artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because then you can make the choice if you prefer pre-made or if you like to hand make them. And
Absolutely.
pro-make them. Yeah, great question. I love these questions we're getting from our industry personnel. What do we have next, Rain?
How should we properly be doing patch tests?
Okay. I love that you called it a patch test, because we shouldn't do patch tests.
Sample set.
Sample set, yeah. So, who wants to take this one? Anybody? Do you want me to?
Yes.
Okay, so in the industry, we try not to refer to this test as a patch test, because the actual definition of a patch test is putting the product on the skin, and cyanacrylate adhesive clearly states for lash extensions that it's not to come in contact with the skin. So please do not patch test adhesive on your clients. What we do, we refer to it as a sample set. We also don't say allergy test because we are not allergists. Allergists are medical professionals and that is not us. So we do not do a patch test, we do not do an allergy test, we do a sample set. The most effective way to do that is to add 5 to 10 extensions on the end of each eye. It's also really important that you go through every single step that you would go through for a full set, because the client may react to the under eye gel pads, they may react to the lash shampoo, they may react to anything you're doing. So full service experience, except you don't do a full set, you would just do 10 to 20 extensions. We always do it on the outer corner because then the client doesn't look silly. It can actually look really flirty and cute. And then you wait the 24 to 48 hours to see if they have an adverse reaction.
So I have a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
In the UK, some of their insurance says you have to do a patch test on the skin. So how would we work
So
with
do
that?
they specifically say patch test? Because I believe they just want you to test for allergy.
From what I've seen in the forums, they are requiring a patch test on the skin.
Okay, my understanding, so we'll have to look into this.
Yeah.
Is that that's what the lash artists are saying, because that's their comprehension of what the insurance company wants.
Okay.
The insurance company just wants you to test each client for possible reaction.
Okay.
And because the terminology in our industry is so common to say patch testing, so I believe when they hear the insurance company wants them to test, they're saying patch test. But we will look into that a little bit more,
Yeah.
and there's actually no harm in also just contacting insurance companies
Yeah.
to inform them, please don't specifically require patch tests if that is what they're doing.
I think it's also important for the lash artists themselves to actually reach out to their insurance company and
Yes.
get clarification on that as well too.
Yeah, and if your insurance company is asking for a patch test, then you need to let them know our product is allowed to go on the skin, and explain to them, you do a sample set and ask them if that's acceptable, and they'll probably update their requirements.
Hopefully, ideally, yeah.
Ideally.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Rain, what's the next question?
How do eye makeup products affect lash extension retention?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of start with that one. I really don't feel like any of the eye makeup nowadays really affect the lashes. What it is really is the process that is in place of how well it's cleansed, how well it's prepped, how well the lash is placed onto the individual lashes, and it's the care and take of it, of what's after what the client does. So it's not fully just makeup.
So we're not really concerned about like different liquid eyeliners and gel eyeliners and things?
Not that much, because it's really how well it's taken care of. It's how rough that they're, removing it, the types of activities I feel that is really done, but it's really the rest of the beginning of how well we take care of in setting that first set to begin with.
And there was talk yesterday too about with proper application, it's less likely that any kind of products get under it. So then, like if there's space for the makeup to get between the hair and extension is when we really start to see problems.
But there are some products, strip lash glue. Like you don't want to get that, it's impossible to get out, right?
Yeah.
Like anything that's like gummy or sticky or turns into a goo, you probably want to avoid. Because then you have to go harder when you're cleaning it out.
Eyeliner and glue or with glitter?
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah. Anything that's glue
Yeah.
will turn into like a gum.
Yeah.
But on a makeup side, I'm
Yeah.
okay with how well the artist, prep the lashes. But if we talk about the person wanting to do more strip lashes on
Yeah.
top, or the we call the glue liner, those will definitely take more wear and tear, and that's the longevity on wearing the extensions.
Yeah.
So I know like years ago, we always you had to get specially formulated eyeliners and things like that. So is that not the case anymore?
I mean, they're still available for people to use, but I think you can really use whatever you want, as long as you're not just scrubbing really hard with like a cotton pad or a Q-tip.
Yeah, like I know like our adhesives have come a long way, our education has come a long way, our techniques have come a long way, so sometimes we're still carrying forward these little myths of like, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Anything powder is fine. I've used cream shadows with no problems. I use liquid liner as long as it's not one of those ones that leaves it's almost like latex and it peels off. If it's like an ink liner, those are fine.
But another thing I would say too is up to us as the lash artist and back to education, because after you finish with the client, you also have a client care package, and I also spend time to educate the client how to take care of their lashes too, because it's also for the cleanliness, the health, and all of that, because that will also make the difference, is how we educate.
Yeah. I think that answers the question.
I think so.
Yeah.
When you're done using your glue dot, how should you dispose of it? I've seen some artists apply bonder or water to it before putting it in the garbage. Is this sufficient at preventing an exothermic reaction?
Yeah.
Yes. Short answer is yes.
Yeah.
So why are we doing that?
Well, the reaction typically happens with cotton, right? So as long as you're not mixing cotton with your adhesive at all, you should never get that reaction. And part of the reason why we add water to our adhesive before we dispose of it is because it fully cures the adhesive, so it's no longer producing any vapors.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
because once that last little ball of glue that was on your tape, on your jade stone, however you do it, is cured, then it can come in contact with cotton and there's not gonna be.
Like if you have Q-tips in your garbage,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend closed lid on your garbage can, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's more cheaper with water
yes.
than the bonder.
Yeah, I wouldn't use bonder.
Yeah,
That,
so
that gets
because
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Utilize the things that are readily available
Water
to
is
you.
free, so using
Yeah.
water is
Yeah.
free.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good question because there are so many myths out there, and when we read things on the forums, there's a lot of misinformation. And I mean, there are things that we don't know. Also, just disclaimer, we don't know everything either. But when we don't know, we're always here to help find that answer and look for the research. And
I mean,
things like
if
that.
you're
So,
ballin' and you want to use bonder, then go right ahead. But water will work just as fine.
yes,
Yeah.
water works good too. But that is definitely a legit thing. That yes, we should all be doing that before we throw it in the garbage.
Is it better to rent a space or to work out of your home?
Well, I really feel, again, when it comes to either renting a space or out of a home, there's really guidelines that we need to have set in place. Because it's about the size, the ventilation, all the health regulations that you have. But it needs to be by internationally, by state, by city and county, what you need to know the regulations. So you have to make sure you abide by that.
I don't think it's either better or worse as long as you're running it in accordance with what your health inspector says. As long as everyone's doing what they are supposed to be doing, I don't think one is better or worse.
Yeah, it's a personal decision.
Yeah.
For your business, right? Because I know sometimes there can be a thing where it's oh, she works out of her house, and there's this subconscious oh, that's less of a business than something else. But I've been to retail establishments that are so subpar, and I've been to home-based establishments that are really high-end and they do a really great job. At the end of the day, it's personal choice. Whether you work retail or from home is not a testament to your quality of work or how you are as a business person. It's a choice. Some people don't want to work out of their home because they don't want to tell their kids to be quiet during certain hours or have people coming into their house. And other people, they just really wouldn't be comfortable. They don't want to be in a retail space. It's personal choice. But just as Ethel said, you just have to meet the requirements of personal services, and you still need a business license, and you still need to have insurance, and just. Doing everything by the book, I think, is just personal choice. There's financial consideration also,
Yeah.
And I think that no matter one way or another, but only the recommendation is follow the standards.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wherever you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I've worked out of my home for most of my career, and as it depends on what your setup is. I've had clients that have been coming to me for 5 years, be like, so where do you actually live? They didn't know that was my home. Because it was a separate entrance, and you don't walk through my kitchen or anything like that, because that's what my city requires, is a separate entrance. So it can be done well. It's not better or worse, and it's not lesser or more.
Yeah,
Right.
and I did it from home, and you had to come in through my front door and walk upstairs to go to my room.
But that was allowed.
Yeah, it was allowed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just following the guidelines.
Yeah.
And then again, you're always going to find clients. So actually, when I moved from my home-based studio to a retail space, I thought it's oh, wow, I'm killing it now. I'm so successful. I have retail space. And I had 2 clients say to me that they didn't want to come to my retail space. They're like, I liked it better at your house. I'm like, oh.
That's cool.
So it's just, again, there's like this idea that it's an upgrade, and that's not necessarily true. And there are very quality lash artists out there who are working from home, running very nice businesses.
And this is where here really we want each of them, again, everybody starts as a student. Then we also support and work on having you as an educator and for you to continue opening your academy. But each one, we're here to want to help every one of you guys to be a successful business owner.
No matter what setting.
Yes. Yes, our mission at NALA is to help you all achieve your highest level of success, and we hope that we can guide you through that so that you feel confident and we're all making positive contributions to the industry. And it doesn't matter where you do that from, it's all about standards. Yeah. I don't know, does anybody know pros and cons to each? Like, I've done both, and there were definitely pros and cons to home, so if anybody was asking that question because they're trying to decide for themselves, there's a lot of things to overhead.
I was like, one of my biggest things was actually my husband worked away at the time, and when he was coming home on his weeks off, he would have to like greet my clients at the door. Like, he had a barbecue with one of my clients one day because she showed up 25 minutes early. So I mean, it all depends. Like, I love my studio, and my husband's very welcomed into my studio and knows most of my clients. So I think you just need to like work out whether or not it's beneficial for your family as well.
Yeah, I don't like my worlds colliding, so I often, if I have a client coming at the same time that like one of my kids might be getting off school and coming home, I'm like, can you wait 15 minutes and make sure my client's in before you walk in the door? Because I just don't like that overlap for me.
Yeah, there's a preference. It depends who lives in your home. If you have pets in your house, that gets a little complicated because they're actually never allowed in the service area. So you can't have them roaming the whole house all day and just keep them out of that room after 3 o'clock. They actually are never allowed in there.
Right.
So there's just different things, lifestyle things to consider for sure.
But like a pro would be like the overhead, because you when you work from home, you can write off a portion of your utilities and things like that on your taxes when you file your taxes.
Yeah. As opposed to spending a few $1,000s a month on a space. So again, it depends where you are in your career, what you charge for prices. One thing I always like to say is, like, if you're working from home, you have a home-based business, you should still be charging the same as the retail spaces.
Yes.
Like, the benefit is supposed to be to you, not the client. The clients should be paying their, $150 a set no matter where they go. You just get the benefit of taking that in without overhead. Like, it's not that it should be a cheaper service for the customer. The customer still gets the same. Well, hopefully we properly answered whatever she was looking for with that question.
Does adhesive go in the fridge? How should it be stored before and after opening?
I think that's more of a question for the distributor or the manufacturer. Some adhesives do come with a label on it that say stay in the fridge. Other ones say don't put it in the fridge at all, or some of them say if it's unopened you can keep it in the fridge for 6 months. So I guess it really just depends on who you're purchasing your adhesive from.
I 100% back up that answer because it's something we try to teach all the time. And Emily's always a big advocate for this too. It's like no off-label use. So everything that we ever use, our adhesive, our chemicals, our disinfectants, everything, whatever the manufacturer says to do is what you should be doing. There's not like one rule for every adhesive out there.
The only thing I do is that airtight container that I like to put in because it does, seal it for anything else of, not being in the air, but at least trapping and holding in for, just for freshness.
It'd be wonderful that everybody reads the SDS for know how to.
Yeah, we should all be getting the SDS sheet with your adhesive. So if you ever get an adhesive without the SDS, which is your safety data sheet. I forgot. Used to be MSDS, material safety data sheet, but they just call it SDS now. So if you are buying adhesive and you don't have that, just ask your manufacturer for it and they'll send it to you. And that tells you all the information about handling and your personal safety using it and things like that.
And usually your inspector likes you to keep a binder of all the products you use and the information, just in case something happens, then you know how to handle the chemicals.
And everything labeled from our inspector.
Yeah, it depends where you live. I know here in Canada, we are required to have it on hand at all times.
All times.
So, but it depends on your own regulations. Good question.
Someone go.
Hello. I didn't do this too many times.
Exceeded my expectations.
There was some hesitant off-camera waving going on.
Do you want me to? Hey, Rain. I'm just kidding.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
Watch the space. We'll get back to
Pew, 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 pew.
you. It's like coming soon. Hopefully,
soon.
an answer.
Next time on the Experts Panel, we discuss lashing in layers, breaking up with a client, and much more.